Good morning and welcome to Galactic Soul Healing. Now, previous video we did cultivating oneness. This again is of course the Sirian Oracle, because pretty much all of my guides are Sirian. My meditation this morning, some things came through and they were alerting me to the need to perhaps move into the spiritual for this one. But also we're just going to get straight into the stacks. I'm not doing any theorizing and conceptualization up here on the board, except to say that the theme is going to be on galactic soul issues. So because we're galactic beings, some issues come up for us, okay, about that. Being here on 3rd Earth at this time, although we are moving up into 4th and 5th D. Okay, and along with the soul issues, they're wanting me to bring in with the cards, and I'll show you in a minute which decks we're going to use, but to bring in these spiritual or light being supports. Now, the other things that come into that are, of course, your own personal spirit guides, archangels, ascended masters, all of those high frequency beings. We're going to be using 4 decks today. I did forget to put on there, and it's just going to be, we're just going to do a couple of stacks, because what came out in the previous reading was that when we look at the interactions between the cards, usually that pulls on certain themes, and they can kind of give us some information that way. So on the Ascended Masters topic, we're going to have the Keepers of the Light. A lot of these cards do contain Ascended Masters in them, and other kind of God, Spirit Guide type figures, like gods and goddesses type of thing. Now, a lot of the religious type figures are the well-known key figures in particular religions, can of course still be called upon to assist you with your ascension process. Okay, so there's Keepers of the Light we're going to use. Now, as I was doing my meditation, it came into my mind that yes, we're going to do the Starseed Oracle today as well, because of course, being galactic souls, this is a beautiful and a lot, the Starseed theme, that idea that we've dropped down into Earth, previously been light beings on other collectives, galactic realms, planets, and that we have a mission here, which is really beautiful, to actually have that dimension in there. And then of course I'm going back to the old faves. I really like these masculine deck and a feminine one, because we are really bringing in also the divine masculine and divine feminine. However, even without the labels of masculine and feminine, these are kind of like action practical cards, okay? And these are like the creative, deep exploration kinds of cards, and also quite spiritual, and these are as well. Okay, so let's get to shuffling and organise these decks, because I really just want to do just make it quick today, because my schedule is kind of becoming a little busier, and Spirit's just really been helping me to streamline that. So rather than thinking I need 2 or 3 hours to do a reading, but it's going to be streamlined now, because I still want to be able to do this, because this is part of my mission here also. I also work as a art therapist now. Once again, as we shuffle these decks and look at the cards, anything that resonates, well and good, you may sort of like to take on the information and examine it closer for yourself. Anything that doesn't resonate, don't feel obligated or obliged to take it on, or if something that is covered that is a little triggering, for you. Perhaps just do some free writing on the topic and then go speak to someone about it. Okay. Certainly, you know, I'm not doing these readings to intentionally upset people, although sometimes things can come up. Okay. So just be aware of that, and just if that does happen, just hold yourself in a loving, compassionate space. Treat yourself to something nice, something that you like to do, and then just say, well, you know, I might just have to look at that, and I'm just going to jot down a few things, and I will look at it at a time that, you know, is going to be suitable for me to look at it. You know, and sometimes, you know, counselling supports, you know, can be of assistance as well. Particularly therapists that kind of take on board the reality of the subconscious, and that does have an influence on our thoughts, feelings and behaviours in the present. So I'm just going to put these down. Just like to call in my Sirian guides and any other light beings, actually, and archangels and ascended masters that would like to assist in just helping me to be able to just pass on the information in a relevant way, and, you know, doing so gently, and with, you know, degree of compassion and understanding, and also just letting you know that any of the meanings that I attribute to cards or to the interconnections, you may well come up with your own meanings and your own interconnections or explanations of the card, because sometimes, you know, we're all so different that certain images may mean, you know, or a particular image may mean one thing to one person, but it might bring up a whole host of different kinds of ideas and thoughts in another. So, you know, just be wary of that as well. But we're really appealing to just getting the benefits of working with image, okay? But doing so with intent of, like, personal growth and helping you through the ascension process, okay? But ultimately, as I've done in other readings, it's also about, you know, helping you to step into a 4D, 5D vibration that's, you know, happy and fulfilling, okay? Because we want to, you know, we all, you know, I mean, I'd be hard-pressed to find someone that doesn't want to have a, you know, a happy, fulfilling life. Now, we might just cut these again. Okay, for some reason I'm just being told to cut again. Excuse me, I was about to warn you, but the sneeze came out just before I could warn. Now, we are just going to do two stacks today, okay? We're keeping it nice and simple. So, Spirit, yeah, just, you know, like some assistance with just being able to give out this information that's going to be on the theme of the issues that we are faced with. The issues that we are faced with. Sorry, I'm just putting these stacks over here. As galactic soul beings. Okay, because we're not just physical beings. You know, and most of you kind of have come to that realization already. Now, without any further ado, let us proceed with the first stack. Okay. Now we're going to look at them individually and then together, which is how it goes. Right. So this is awesome. We have here the Temple of Black Obsidian, which is quite a powerful stone for that is a type of crystal, and you can actually go and research. There's probably more information about that than I can actually tell you, because I'm not an expert on crystals. But I believe it's quite useful for releasing negative energy. So if you're taking on negative energy, which is one of the things as galactic souls, especially if you're an energetically sensitive starseed, okay, taking on negative energies and being heavily influenced by low vibration environments, people, even low vibrational foods, forms of entertainment, anything like that, you may become very quite overladen and overwhelmed by negative energy. And this is actually underneath here. It says the dark healing chamber. So the interesting thing is that obsidian is a healing stone, because if perhaps you can get a small piece of it and wear it like in a necklace. I have some euconite here, which is like a little angel carved out. Don't know if you can see that. I'm also wearing this is tiger eye, which is quite nice as well. So if you can get a little piece of this and wear it, it will help to help you to release negative energy. Yeah, and we may come back to that too, because sometimes with these cards I think there are many layers as well that we can look into. Now this is a really beautiful card, one of my favourite Gods and Titans cards. It is Poseidon and it is Flow, and that is just awesome. I'm so glad this came up. So as galactic souls, we need to give ourselves permission, even though we might be under the pump doing A, B and C daily requirements, okay, for survival. We do need to give ourselves permission sometimes to have time away from that and to just get into our own personal flow if we can. And this is so beautiful because it's also alluding to energy flow, okay, particularly perhaps through just even your circulatory system, so just circulation. For instance, if you do a sedentary job, okay, your circulation may be compromised, so you need to balance that out with some perhaps yoga, stretching, some movement like walking, bike riding, maybe swimming or something like that, just to get your body flow energy, okay. And sometimes too, when we are overloaded on media, okay, even social media or gaming or anything like that, that can sometimes push us out of flow because we get very fixated. Our energy gets very activated in the head, okay, but the rest of the body not so much, okay. So it's really saying benefits. This galactic soul issue is at this time we are being challenged to step back into our whole body flow, okay, which is really hard. If you have been, if you spend a lot of time doing intellectual things or sitting around a lot, okay. Now this, we'll go back over these cards too, because there may be other connections that come forward. And like I said, if you see an image, other things may come up for you as well. So this starseed one here is, it says forge, don't follow. So that is about not ascribing too much to what the majority do. So if everyone around you is doing A and B, which is perhaps, not conducive to you cultivating flow holistically in mind and body and spirit, okay, then you might have to start forging a little path for yourself that perhaps just runs alongside that other stuff that you do, okay. It's saying, don't just copy blindly without thinking about the implications of what you're doing. Pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. So that's actually about leading yourself, taking it upon yourself to go, I am my own leader, okay, which can be quite liberating if you it might even be a good idea to journal that statement, or even perhaps write it over, like, I am my own leader. Just write it out and just see how that drops in, because other things might come up, like, oh yeah, I should be my own leader, but A, B and C, okay, or why can't I be my own leader, or other things, okay. But then my little suggestion is, just take one aspect of your life, like maybe recreation or nutrition, like health, or perhaps your creativity, okay, hobbies, and maybe just go, well, okay, if I'm not the leader in my life in those few aspects over there, maybe I can just choose one and go, I'm going to start to be my own leader in that for myself. Which, when we say lead, it's not like you have to be the best at it. It's that you have to, or that it's more ideal to give yourself permission to lead yourself in that direction. But even just giving yourself permission to engage in that type of perhaps healthful or more balanced approach to lifestyle. And certainly we want to be enhancing this flow. Now, that can also be about balance, because the more balanced you are, when things start dropping into place, the more flow you can experience. Okay, and flow can actually, now Tai Chi is actually a really good thing to do to help you to tap into your own internal flow. It will help your internal energy, but then it can help you to flow more in your life as well. Let's see the last one. Now, wow, this is actually amazing. Quick thing here, Poseidon is a spiritual being, energy, force that you can appeal to help you with flow. And it's also suggesting water here, so use perhaps some water therapy. Make sure you perhaps use showers for relaxation, or a bath, or go swimming, or go to the ocean and just kind of chill, right? Now, this is Lord Ganesh. He's an Indian god, and he is the remover of obstacles, I believe, is kind of one of the types of energies that he can help to activate in people, right? And it's also infinite abundance. Now, isn't it interesting that, let's just read underneath. Obstacles are being removed, spiritual support and connections are increasing. Now, that is spot on, because this stone here is about helping you to remove negative energy, which is literally like an obstacle, okay? Because sometimes the negative energies that surround us form energetic obstacles to us perceiving ourselves as beings of light, or that we have a inner light that is resonant with our own highest good. Okay, and the other thing is that the spiritual support and connections are increasing, and this word I've written up here, spiritual supports. Okay, so Spirit is actually saying that yes, as galactic souls, okay, one of the things that we need to start doing is really start exploring and helping to make the shifts in our consciousness that will allow the spiritual energies that will actually allow our own higher aspects to communicate with spiritual energies. But that means that sometimes our conscious mind needs to come on board with that. Okay, because then we have a more fuller consciousness. Okay, this is also one of the things that I wrote down here after my meditation was so basically the guides are assisting us. A sort of today's reading will be about what and how spirit guides and light beings can assist humans in their waking up process into a fuller or more super consciousness. Okay, so that means becoming more activated in their physical body, in their energy body, and in their light body. Okay, which of course filters down into mental, emotional, and spiritual, and it's to do with, basically everything, all the chakras humming along nicely. Okay, in balance. So obstacles are being removed to all those obstacles that are blocking you from achieving flow. They are being removed, but it's imperative that you first of all acknowledge that there is some work to be done. Okay, that there is some negative energy to perhaps become aware of, and then to perhaps find the strategies that you can use to balance out your association with those negative energies a bit more. Okay, so rather than subjecting yourself to the negative energies, low vibrational energies 100% of the time, okay, you are going to need to give yourself permission and find some strategies and skills that can help you move out of that negative energy, experience some inner flow for yourself, and the moving out of the negative energy is removing the obstacles. And this one here is about, it's going to take some forging on your part. Okay, because if you just do what everyone else is doing, okay, particularly if you're working with, or you live with, or hang out with, friends, relatives that are not experiencing this, and you can perceive that, okay, that's your galactic soul tuning into something's not quite, something's a little bit amiss, and I don't want to be like that. So it's saying, it's okay to associate, but you need to start forging a little path and getting some balance and flow for yourself. And this is all about releasing. This is all about releasing negative energy to tap into flow. And this is what the galactic soul, what they're saying. It's it's going to take. I'm trying to get this into the right order. Sorry, people. Okay, we're going to have to forge. Find out what it is that you need to do to get into flow. Forge that, but you're going to have to deal with some negative energy, okay, that you might need help releasing, and you can use crystals to help with that. There are lots of other things as well. Okay, if you Google releasing negative energy, there'll be a whole lot of stuff come up. You can even use music. Okay, you could do movement, you could do aromatherapy, you could actually do some art, because that gets you into a zone. Okay, you can even do prayer, your own special little spiritual rituals that you like to do. Okay, and this is the almost like a spiritual entity that you can appeal to assist you with that. You can appeal to Lord Ganesh for releasing of obstacles. So in a prayer you can actually incorporate that. And this is the goal here, is for you to experience more flow, or certainly get that into more balance with the other stuff that's not so much flow. Okay, step one, gently, right? But I really love, thank you Spirit, how that is there. And the spiritual supports for this, obviously Lord Ganesh and Poseidon, right? But you can certainly tune into any other light being collectives that you feel resonant with, and ask for assistance. Okay. Any other light beings, any other ascended masters that you know of that could assist you, and your own personal spirit guides, of course. And there are probably other types of high frequency beings that you can, that I haven't listed there, right? Because what whatever I say is not definitive, and there's certainly always more to the story, okay? But in terms of, I think that's really awesome, and I really love that card flow. It's one of my favourites. And even the thing about music, right? Just find some music that perhaps you can just really relax into, okay? Doing guided relaxations is also another beautiful way to raise your frequency and get more into flow. Because often, I'll just put this in there, often stress is that thing that takes us out of this. So the more stressed you are, the less you have of this, okay? Now, I just need to pause, and my glasses are fogging up. So I need to be able to see. Okay. Now, the next stack. Wow, this is going well. Do you know the amazing, incredible thing is that we just had this card in the last reading is in terms of cultivating oneness, and Spirit put this in here again to reiterate that the truth of the matter is that a pillar of light, we are literally pillars of light, okay? We have an inner light, right? Now it says descent of the Star of Isis. So Isis is another spiritual support, Lady Isis, that you can appeal to for assistance with issues that you're having as a galactic soul going through ascension, okay? Very supportive. There's also a whole host of other Sirian guides that can really assist, okay? Lady Isis is based on Sirius. Now, Hades and death. Okay. Now, as you know, we can have a physical death. Okay. We can have a metaphorical death. Okay. We can have little deaths. So it's often referring to, death often refers to the end of a cycle. Right. Now, Earth generally is coming to the end of a cycle. Okay, but that an ending is followed by a new beginning. Okay, so Spirit also wants people to start to think that instead of having fear of the ending, try and think simultaneously of the wonder of the new beginning that immediately follows this. Okay. Because when there is a change or an ending and a beginning, generally there's a transition process that goes on. Okay. So this is also saying that there is a transition process. As galactic souls, we are going through a transition in awareness, a transition in our energy body, a transition in our light body. Okay, we're becoming more, as the last video, we are cultivating oneness, which is a transition process. Okay, so this is almost like light and dark here, isn't it? Life, this literally has a pillar of light, so it's light and dark. Right, now Hades is the Greek god of death. Now, if I look at that, if you look at that being there, you know, there's other creatures there as well. Now, it's interesting, isn't it? Let's look at the other cards and we'll see how they blend in. Right, so alongside this one we have trust the timing. Underneath it says, trust the wave you came in on. Time is not running out. You know what this is saying to me? And it may say something different to you, and like I said, if what I say does not resonate, you don't have to take this on. But it's almost looking like, from my perspective, that if this is saying time is not running out, okay, this here is almost saying like, if death is always imminent, everything's in cycles. The thing is that it doesn't mean that it's come to an end completely. It's only on a particular dimension where there's been a shift and there's a new movement into another dimension, okay? Or a change or a shift in a state of being, okay? So while it can be perceived as, you know, everything's coming to an end, or, you know, this relationship is gotta end, oh my God, and, you know, even when someone close to you dies, you think, oh, but obviously they won't be around anymore and you would miss them, okay? But it's saying that in the bigger scheme of things, it's not finished completely, because there's a certain amount of trust that that what happens needs to happen in its time, in its divine timing, okay? And that this here is simply a shift or change or transition into a different energy, a different way of being, or a different state. So for instance, if someone goes through a physical death, okay, that is a death of the physical, but their spiritual aspect goes on, because time does not run out in that realm, okay? Time is not running out in a sense. So it's almost like it's sort of encouraging us to have a bit more of a spiritual honouring view of this, rather than a fear, an anxiety, a throwing the hands up in the air in complete despair. There needs to be more of a deep honouring and a time taken to acknowledge the transition, more understanding around it. And that can be, you know, for anything. You know, even if, say, a woman is pregnant, right? She's giving birth to new life, but her old way of life is the previous way of life of living, is actually going through this, right? Because my little personal belief is that parenting or having your own child, you know, for a mother and father, is actually a huge initiation, okay? Another thing too is like when people go through midlife, or say when their children no longer live with them, okay? That can be a big thing for people, and certainly when people are elderly or terminally ill, they're coming to terms with, you know, the physical death, okay? But like this is saying, it's urging us to consider that the end is not, it's not a complete end, okay? It's just the beginning of a new cycle, which I think is really beautiful. Now, Gaia, wow, this is nature as well. Earth connection. This is so important for galactic soul beings, okay? Our earth connection is an energetic connection. And you know what it's also saying? With this, it's also alluding, like I said, cycles, but it's talking also about the cycles of nature, of earth. So, you know, we have the tides and the moon, and you know, night and day and things like that. And it's also saying, you know, perhaps to live a little bit more in tune with nature and cycles, okay, and then we will sort of, our whole energetic being will sort of start to relax, okay. But if you hang out in nature, you are doing yourself a favour in terms of frequency. It will assist you to ground, but also to raise frequency. Nature is beautiful, almost the most healing thing. Because times in my life when I've just been at the bottom of the pit, the thing that saved me obviously is, sometimes you just need to talk to someone, but the other times it's like I just went out in nature and I just really sat and perceived. That's truly tuned into that energy. And underneath here it says, be mindful of the planet, come back to earth and stay grounded. That is I'm so glad that's in there. And you know what? You can do so many things to help ground yourself. Like I said, Google energetic grounding. Okay, one thing is you can walk on the earth in bare feet, right? Go out in nature, that's 2. Listen to some drumming music, which will bring your vibration down, okay? Do anything physical, okay, which will drop the energy out of your head and ground you. Do some gardening, okay? Do some dancing, maybe stomping, that type of thing. The lower chakras, so for instance, red colour for the base chakra, then you have orange for the sacral, and yellow for the solar plexus. Now, those kind of warm, vibrant, even earthy colours like brown as well, maybe wear some of those colours. You can do colour therapy. You can even look into doing getting some grounding aromatherapy oils. Go and research aromatherapy or grounding oils aromatherapy. There's so many things, okay. Massage is beautifully grounding. Going through a guided relaxation, lying on the floor, doing yoga can be really grounding, okay. Sometimes if you do excessive meditation, that's not so much grounding, because it depends. Like, I generally find that if I'm moving and meditating, that's quite grounding, because there's body and mind are both activated, okay. Now let's look at these cards together. Isn't this just beautiful? This is alluding, it's almost Spirit saying, the whole vibe I'm getting from this is that basically Spirit actually wants us to slow down, chill out, connect into nature, and start connecting into the natural cycles, okay, the natural cycles of things. Now, this is particularly on point, and it's really amazing, because the last week or so I have been getting up with the sunrise, okay, and basically going to sleep at sundown time. So in the old-fashioned days where we didn't have electricity, right, whereas now people stay up at all times because they can keep their lights on till 2 in the morning, right? But if you start living with the natural cycles, okay, it can sort of assist you to ground and even feel stronger, more centered, and more grounded, because you actually, with nature, you've actually got all of that. The nature is actually vibrating or resonating with your being, or you're vibrating with that, and that is a huge backup energetically. Since I've been doing that, I have felt a lot stronger internally, more grounded for sure, okay. And and it's also saying, if we can do this and have that mindset of like, time is not running out. That's the other thing. If you go to bed at sundown, right, you're not running out of time, because what you're doing then in the morning is you're getting up really early. Okay, so whatever so-called, if you perceive you lose 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours at night, you're getting up extra early, so you're actually gaining 2 or 3 hours. So it's the same. So you're not losing time by starting to live more naturally. And Also, this is also alluding to living more naturally, trying to eat more raw foods, plant-based foods, be mindful of the planet. So, doing everything with being a bit more mindful. It's not just about recycling, okay? It's about your own being, okay? And this is interesting, isn't it? Because we've kind of got the light and dark, the cycles, but I think it's really alluding to if we can get closer to the natural cycles. Okay, I think we will start to lose our fear and anxiety about this, and we will stop living with basically death anxiety. And becoming old will be a beautiful, honourable thing. Okay. And the other thing is that because some cultures have a whole beautiful honouring process and ritual around people that go through that physical death process, because when you think about it, for a galactic soul issue, right, a lot of us are dealing with this, the negative vibration of death anxiety, and that can actually push people. It can cause major depression, okay, excuse me, it can cause depression, it can cause anxiety, it can even cause like isolation, and a lot of really low vibrational mood states. Okay, now for instance, these people that spend thousands of dollars on makeup to look good because they are shit scared of looking old. But you know what? If you live according to the natural cycles, and you start to really relax into your being, and you tap into your light being, you activate, you will start to look younger anyway. Because you'll be in a more optimal state energetically. Okay, this is a big soul issue and it's interesting that this deck here was about releasing. So it's almost about releasing a lot of this. I'm actually going to word it negative crap that has been dumped on us. Okay, and as galactic soul beings, we know that we're light, but we still have to contend with and navigate all of these other negative energies here, right? Now, let's talk about spiritual supports with this one. So, Hades could actually be a figure that, and I have done this because I had grief a couple of years back, and I did a whole lot of meditations on actually becoming friends with death. Now, that is not to say, I am definitely not saying that, become friends with death, then we can, we're going to go kill ourselves. That's absolutely ridiculous, because that's not honouring of life or honouring our highest good, is it? It's basically just ignoring our soul mission, which is not what we're saying here. But to become friends with it is really to go into a deep place within yourself where you go, I need to understand this. What is it? Why is it? Why do I feel so much angst about it? And why am I so torn up emotionally about it? Okay, and it's interesting what comes up. And then it's also interesting what your higher self steps in and says to you about that. Okay, and that's another beautiful thing you can do. This here is also saying, this here represents also your higher self, because it is your light self, your pillar of light. Okay. Now, spirits also, the other messages coming through is that they're saying you need to tap into your higher self in order to understand this and how this is impacting you. Okay, and what what are your perceptions and conceptualizations and understandings about, say, physical death, emotional death, spiritual death even, like intellectual death. There's a whole lot of little deaths, and sometimes it's a relationship death, right? And there can be a lot of fear around. This is actually a card of change, and also almost holds the potential for transformation as well. Okay, because sometimes, like with nature, this is what they're saying also, is to observe nature. Sometimes a bit of a breakdown needs to occur before a regeneration can happen. Okay, because it's the old saying, like, you can't change something, or can't change your life by doing the same old things that you've always done. It's like there has to be some give and take. Something has to go in order for new energy to come in. Okay, but like I said, if none of that resonates, don't take that on, and it might not be the time for you to take that on. Okay, and that's fine. And you might have other ideas about these images as well. But yeah, this one's really nice. Time's not running out. It's about trust. This says trust the timing. So that's also about Spirit saying, Galactic Star Seeds, just trust that you are in the right place right now, that you do have the supports around you. It's actually up to you to tap into this higher self part of yourself. Okay, you may need to go through some little deaths even. It might not be about a physical death. It might be about a death of an attitude, or a death of an idea, or like an internal program that's quite deep. Okay, it might be just saying, you might need to look at, it's also a card about letting go, isn't it? Which is like basically what these obstacle cards were. It's about letting go of obstacles, okay? But it's also, this one's about appealing to your higher self, your spiritual aspect, to see what's blocking you from really accepting that. And this is a beautiful grounding one. Just the natural cycles, I really love that. And Gaia too, you can actually pray to Gaia. You could even maybe appeal to Hades for transition or letting go of something. Just go, look, higher self, Hades, I understand that you have a bit to do sort of like with death, and I feel like I'm going through some sort of transition or change, and I really need some support with what have I got to look forward to if I go through this change, right? What release will I experience? And like I said, this is not a card about suicide. Please don't think that. That would be just awful. Do not go down that path. And if you feel like you want to go down that path, please speak to someone, professional counsellor or someone close to you. Okay. But I'm just going to say this is a card about cycles. Okay, it's endings and beginnings of cycles. Okay, now we are going to leave it there. I hope that's been of assistance. Yeah, so the spiritual supports, I think that's evident in the cards. But like I said, if you have any other ideas about your own spirit guides, and please pursue those and explore them. Yeah, so I mean, we're all in this together, and yeah, I wish you all the best on your galactic soul journey, and I'm looking forward to the next video, so I will see you then.